Foundations of Amateur Radio. The day came to pass when all my setup and configuration was going to culminate in the moment of truth when I enabled TX on my Whisper Mode station. Before I tell you of my experience, I should give you a little bit of background. A few weeks ago, I managed to erect a HF vertical at my home, or QTH. That, in and of itself, was newsworthy. Well, at least to me it was, since it was the first time since I became licensed in 2010 that I had actual, real, all-band HF capability at home. Last weekend I ran some RG6, yes, 72-ohm quad-shield low-loss coaxial cable from my antenna through the roof into my shack. I was thrilled. Immediately set about getting my HF station up and running. This involved installing WSJTX, a tool that allows you to do weak signal work, perfect for when you're a low-power or QRP station like me. I've previously reported using Whisper Weak Signal Propagation Reporter on a Raspberry Pi and a dongle, but this time I was using my Yaesu FT857D. Reports were coming in thick and fast. Managed to hear stations on all the bands I'm allowed on: 80 meters, 40 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. Managed to make it report online and update the various maps around the place. Brilliant. Now I wanted to do the next thing. Transmit and see who could hear me and how far my beautiful call sign might travel on 5 watts. So after some abortive attempts, I configured the levels correctly, made sure that my antenna coupler and SG237 was tuned, and hit Enable TX on the screen of my computer. Dutifully, my computer did what was expected, turned on the transmitter, and happily made the fan run on my radio for 2 minutes at a time. I tried 80 meters, 40 meters, and 15 meters. All worked swimmingly. Then I looked on the map to see who had heard me. Nobody. Nothing. Nada. Niets and niemand. I could hear November 8 Victor India Mike using 5 watts, 18,649 kilometers away. But nobody could hear me, not even the station Victor Kilo 6 Charlie Quebec, who is 9 kilometers from me. So what's going on? Turns out that I'm not using a, quote, standard, quote, call sign. That's right, my Victor Kilo 6 Foxtrot Lima Alpha Bravo, authorized by the World Radio Communication Conference 2003, implemented by the Australian regulator, the ACMA, in 2005, and issued to me in 2010, isn't a standard call sign. Seems that the deal breaker is the 4-letter suffix, Foxtrot Lima Alpha Bravo. That's killing my attempts at making contact. Now, I know that there are moves underway, not quite sure what stage they're at, to allow Australian amateurs to apply for any 3-letter suffix, and keep that regardless of their license level. But that to me doesn't really solve the underlying issue, where a perfectly legal call sign isn't allowed to be used by one of the most popular modes today. I've lodged a bug report on the WSJTX mailing list, but to accommodate this call sign will probably require a fundamental change in the way the Whisper mode and likely several other JT modes will work, not to mention the databases, the maps, API calls, and other fun things like logging. Technically, I could have figured this out back in September 2019, when I was first allowed to use digital modes with my license, but I didn't have an antenna then. In case you're wondering, I also investigated using a so-called extended or Type 2 message, but that allows for an add-on prefix that can be up to 3 alphanumeric characters, or an add-on suffix that can be a single letter or 1 or 2 digits. I could use something like a Victor Kilo 6 Foxtrot Lima Alpha / Bravo, but I'm sure that the owner of Victor Kilo 6 Foxtrot Lima Alpha would be upset, and using Victor Kilo 6 / Foxtrot 0 Lima Alpha Bravo might have a French amateur yell merde at me when they spot their call sign being transmitted from VK6. One suggestion was to upgrade my license. What's the fun in that? I'm Ono, Victor Kilo 6 Foxtrot Lima Alpha Bravo.